My name is Akeem Bundu Kamara and I am the founder of Locker Space.
My name's Bemment. I'm the head of ESG, SME and mid-corporate banking at Lloyds Banking Group. The E stands for environment, the S stands for social and the G stands for governance.
For me, sustainability in business means having practices that can be maintained over a long period of time for now and for the future. And I think about this from a social, from a economic, and also from an environmental point of view. And I think it's important because we have essentially a responsibility for all of those people in the future about how we practice some of the ways how we do all of our business. And I also think that it's possible. And if it's possible, why aren't we doing it?
So for me, sustainability is really important in SME-sized business. We've heard it lots of times, but they really are the backbone of the UK economy. That's 60% of employees are in SMEs. But secondly, more importantly, from an environmental perspective, SMEs currently generate about 28 million tonnes of carbon per year. So we really are part of the problem and need to be part of the solution in terms of just making the planet a better place for the future generations. So Akeem, I think to create a more sustainable business strategy, businesses can start in the more tactical areas, things that we do at home. So reducing the amount of energy that businesses use, reduce the amount of waste, increase the amount of recycling, and reduce things like water, so things that we all use as consumers can be applied in the business space. I think more strategically, you need a plan. You need to invest some time or some people into it, maybe hire an ESG manager or someone that's got responsibility for the ESG elements of the business. And you need to make a start. I think they're the strategic things that need to happen to start the ball rolling.
That's really interesting, and I feel that some of the things that I have used in order to learn more has been the UN. They have the 17 goals, and I've essentially used that as a basis for my business. And I definitely see a lot of the other brands who are a part of Locker Space have also been using that in order to understand where they can make a difference and where they can also improve. So my suggestion would always be to use the UN's 17 sustainable goals in order to create a plan. And then the final thing I would say is try to measure where you can. I know that that's something that we try to do because I think once you measure, you can see where you are and where you will be in the future. I think it's just a really nice thing to have some goals like that. So in my business, what we have sustainability attributes. And what we're doing here is that we're trying to show be very transparent and to show how we are aligning with those goals. One of them, for example, is recycled fabrics. So we highlight some of the sportswear that is made from recycled fabrics, and then that's there and transparent for all of those items of sportswear. So I think it's just, again, something that highlights how we're reducing the amounts of plastic, for example, by using recycled fabrics, such as our pen. I would say that the impact can always be seen. I think, especially when I see the amount of plastic that has not been used by certain of the fabrics that have been used in the sportswear that we make, or even just the packaging. I think it's such a simple, small thing that I know that a lot of the Locker Space brands really do utilize. And I see the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. How about yourself?
Similar, Akeem. So from a financial perspective, so if you're reducing the amount of waste and water and energy, that money can be saved and invested elsewhere in the business. For many SMEs, I think that starts to help them become more efficient and more productive, which is another big issue that SMEs face. And I think from a people perspective, you start to help you recruit and retain talent throughout the business. So I think increasingly working for a sustainable business is becoming more and more important for people in their career choices.
And I completely agree, specifically with the last point around people wanting to work with you. I think that's something that I've definitely seen in terms of the partnerships that we have, or some of the community groups, whether they're like running groups or mental health, like in charity groups. I definitely see that people are more positive, and people do want to make a difference. And I think just the biggest challenge is, how can they make a difference? And I think that by having that sustainable business strategy, we can showcase to people, to the community, to like society, how they can make a difference. And I think that's really impactful right now.
And just one final point for me, I think without having a sustainable business and strategy, you can lose clients. You might have a great product, price, service, reputation, but if you don't have a sustainable strategy, you could end up losing. Equally, I think if you do have a strategy and a plan and it's activated, you can actually win new clients and grow your business as well. So it's definitely an opportunity and a risk.
Personally, I work with a number of consultancies that really do inform me and give me a lot more advice and tips, and help me to see how the numbers are. I also use a lot of different websites. I know that Shopify has some really great stuff that allows me to understand what the carbon emissions are from each sale. And all of these tools out there that exist, by using the consultancies, by using these online tools, they really do provide a lot of good information. And I like to understand that, and I like to share it. How about yourself?
It's a great question. I think from a client perspective, getting started is clearly where you need to start your evaluation. So one of the things that we've had within Lloyds Banking Group for our clients is our own clean growth audit and checklist. And secondly, our green building tool, where people can assess the environmental impacts of their buildings, from energy and heating, etc., which gives them some prioritised options and choices where to spend money to try and improve their energy efficiency. I think from a Lloyds Banking Group perspective, we've just released our second ESG report, and many companies are issuing their ESG report, which, along with accounts and reports, every year it starts to give shareholders and stakeholders a bit more of an insight on what businesses are doing and where they've been, where they are now, and where they're going to.
My personal advice to anybody who wants to start a sustainable business is to really just join the community. I feel that there's a lot of people out there with really useful tips, and it's very accessible over all sorts of channels and platforms, and they can help you to start in an incremental way and really start to make a change and a difference in your own area or niche, especially as an SME.
So my one piece of advice would be to follow the 5-step plan that was in our Now to Net Zero report. So first one, make a start, which we've talked about. Secondly, engage employees, which again we've talked about, and look for those early wins, which again are about in terms of reducing waste and energy use and water, for example. The third one's definitely more difficult, and that's to start to measure carbon footprint. But once you can start to measure, you can have a plan and start to see what progress you're making. The fourth one, keep your eyes up and out and looking externally and navigating the road ahead from a regulation or competition or supply chain perspective. And as you've said, Akeem, the fifth point is, join the community, learn from others, learn from other businesses in your supply chain, even competitors in the same sector or the same region. It really does help. And I think this really is a team sport. No one can solve sustainability and the planet crisis on their own. It really is all of us coming together and doing our bit.